Welcome back into the SBR Bowl Betting Special Show with our guest, Ed Fang. Ed, welcome in. How are you?
I'm great, Drew. Thanks so much for having me on.
Hey, happy to have you. We got the Pinstripe Bowl up next in New York at Yankee Stadium here, December 27th on ESPN, 5:15 Eastern kickoff. We got the Miami Hurricanes, Wisconsin Badgers, a replay of last year's rematch of last year's Orange Bowl, where Wisconsin came up on top 34-24. This time the Hurricanes laying 4 in New York, 47 the total. Ed, how would you look to bet the Hurricanes and Badgers?
Yeah, these two teams are kind of near and dear to my heart because they were both on my overrated list heading into the season. Every year I look at the
Nice
preseason
pick.
AP poll and I try to use both numbers and what I know about these programs to pick overrated teams. So these were the two that it was clear that I was right about by the middle of the season. My third team was West Virginia at 16th, which I think the jury is still out on. Probably going to rate that either a push or a loss. It was definitely not the right call. But yeah, so Miami and Wisconsin, they both really struggled compared to preseason expectations. Miami just can't really find a quarterback. I believe they settled on N'Kosi Perry, who was the backup at the beginning of the season and is kind of taken over. I think he's the younger guy compared to Malik Rozier, who was the quarterback last year when Miami was undefeated for a pretty long time. Miami's defense is excellent, and I think that's going to be a really good matchup against Wisconsin's offense. Wisconsin's offense really runs the ball well. They have three guys that should probably be top NFL picks next season on that offensive line. They run the ball. The Jonathan Taylor, the running back, is also excellent. Very
Mhm.
shifty, like a big guy, but also very shifty. Is able to chew up yards. This is a team that was even able to push Michigan around a little bit in the Big House this year. Get linemen off the ball. So they're able to run the ball. It should be a very good matchup. Miami actually defends the run not as well as they defend the pass. So, can Wisconsin cram it down their throat? I actually don't see a ton of value on either side. I don't see it in either the side of the total in this game. I think it's going to be a competitive game. Both teams that have a lot of motivation to get another win, and yeah, we'll see how they do.
Ed, I got a question for you in particular to this game. This one at Yankee Stadium. We also talked about a game at Chase Field where the Arizona Diamondbacks play, but this one obviously where the New York Yankees play. Do you factor that in as far as it being a baseball stadium and a college football game there, as far as favoring one side or the other, or maybe betting a side or a total?
Yeah, I mean, I would leave that to people who know more about that stuff than I do. My numbers certainly don't consider it. I think it's important to consider these types of things. Especially, we saw what was the NFL game yesterday where the Pittsburgh kicker slipped on the
Hmm.
Oakland Stadium because it was a baseball stadium, and like they would have tied the game, would have gone into overtime, probably win that game. Instead, you're stuck with this ugly loss against the tanking Oakland Raiders team. So yeah, can things like that happen? For sure. I'm probably not the best person to figure out whether that affects Miami or Wisconsin. I think weather is also an interesting thing too because this is going to be a cold weather game in New York, obviously closer to what you would expect in Madison during that time of year. Miami's coming up from a warm temperature environment. Um, the Big Ten always loves to complain about how all these bowl games are in the South and it's warm and I think in general, a lot of that's garbage just because, you have a lot of time to go and these teams arrive there 6 days ahead of time. You have time to acclimate. Just a side note, I kind of wonder how that affects the altitude, right? I mean, we have a couple games where I think like Utah State is playing in the New Mexico Bowl at altitude. They're from altitude. How does that affect North Texas? That's not from altitude, but North Texas is there 6 days in advance. And, you're an athlete, Drew. Like fitness is fitness, right? So like if you're in shape, you should be fine if you have 6 days to acclimate. But
Yeah,
I
and
think these
Ed,
are all
I'll add to
factors.
that. Yeah, you brought up the 6 days. Like, I think take that into effect. You got a bunch of what, 19 to 23-year-olds, and giving them 6 days to acclimate, I think is fine. It's not the same as taking it from the regular season where you show up, Friday night and you got to play Saturday at noon. That's a big difference, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I would completely agree. And I think it'd be interesting to kind of do a little bit more of an altitude study. I've seen it done in college basketball, and I think there is an effect, especially
Hmm.
what you talk about, Drew, like showing up the night before. If you're going to Logan, Utah, and you're from like Fresno State at sea level, there's probably an effect in just, the acclimation. You're just not used to it. So, yeah, definitely things to consider. I have a bowl season report. I talk about a lot of these things: altitude, home field, and these types of things. So not only my predictions for totals and spreads, but also other factors to consider: coaching changes, guys skipping games for prepping for the NFL draft. These are all situations to consider when looking to handicap bowl games.
And where can they find that at thepowerrank.com?
Yeah, you can go to thepowerrank.com, and if you can remember thepowerrank.net, that will take you directly to the page where you can get the bowl season report.
All right, powerrank.com, powerrank.net. Follow them on Twitter at thepowerrank. As far as Pinstripe Bowl, side or total, what's your strongest play here, Ed?
Yeah, I mean, I think my strongest play is definitely a lean towards Wisconsin. I think there's a little bit of an overreaction. They had this awful game where they lost at home to Minnesota the last game of the season. I think turnovers played a big role. It was one of these games where they were very even in yards per play, but they ended up losing by 20-some points. I think there's I think we see a little bit of that in the market right now. There's probably a little bit of value with Wisconsin, but I don't love it.
I agree with you. I like the Badgers, and if it's under 40 degrees, I like the Badgers a lot. I love what you said about the weather and the Miami Hurricanes. But guys, follow Ed on Twitter at the Power Rank, and Ed, we appreciate your time. Best of luck in bowl season, and best of luck with all your bets for the rest of the year, man.
Hey, thanks so much, Drew. Best of luck to you guys too, and everyone who's listening.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.